Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast for the recently deceased. I'm Nate Roberts.
I'm Rodney Godek. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, and sorry to everyone out there in Twitch land that we had to leave you high and dry last week. Family emergency, that kind of stuff happens. But we are here. We are back, episode 23. Um,
Mm.
yeah, like a stale sour wine.
Okay. Yeah. You should have had something loaded there. I was like, oh, he's gonna say 23 in Italian or something, or Finnish. So at any rate, what were you alluding? Yeah, you're wearing a very flowery red, bright red, slashery shirt. So
Yes.
that's in homage to the films that we watched, or at least with our first one. So tonight's episode is Dario Argento's Black Glasses or Dark Glasses or Occhiali Neri, as the Italians like to say. And our other film is Hatching. And so I can't recall. These were just two films that you came across and thought this would be a fun pairing. I think mainly because, hey, foreign and
Yeah, we definitely wanted to
new.
watch Hatching, and Hatching was new, so we were like, so once I just came across Dark Glasses, happened to be an Argento, so maybe a little classic.
Yeah, I
Show
think we
some.
had mentioned Argento's movie being on the radar a long time ago, but it just kind of like so many other things distracted us and we forgot about it, and so it was a good happenstance. Um, I love foreign films. The thing that I really enjoy about whenever we get to watch foreign horror is that, for the most part, it's any non-American horror because they don't have the same hangups. They don't have the same awkward need to make a commercially viable film for the American fan or moviegoer. Like they're and it's just a different culture. 9 times out of 10, these are non-American locations, and so it's a different experience. I really like getting away from all the same bullshit that we've seen. I think
Yeah,
it's more likely to work than not for me.
yeah, I totally agree. Also, I feel like in foreign language, it's harder to tell if they're actually like bad at acting. You're just kind of like, oh, great. You're because you're like reading along, which is another thing
Right.
that immerses me, which is what I always talk about immersion, especially with horror movies. But if I'm sitting back and I'm just reading, 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 I'm totally sucked in. Like you can't distract me from
Yeah.
the movie because I've been reading the whole time. Like
Hmm.
films in English, I can be distracted because can listen, so I don't have to watch the screen. Um,
Yeah.
so you do get this next level of immersion that you don't
Yeah, you're
get
kind of
with
forced
English
to lock
movies.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's funny, like you can't when you mention you can't tell if they're bad actors. Like one of the other things that you can assist an actor who has to pretend to be blind is let them wear glasses the whole movie. And so I wonder what came first here, the chicken or the egg, which is also kind of funny because the hatching. Hey, who knew there'd be all these entendres just ready to be utilized? And so, um, in preparation. Okay, so you want to start with dark glasses? Get into it.
Yeah. I think we should talk about Dark Glasses first.
I'm interested in a quick little primer. Is it primer or is it primer?
Oh, I believe it's Primer. And
Uh,
do we have one now that IMDb is down? What the fuck, IMDb? We need you.
yeah.
We
Well, so
actually
okay, without IMDb, I guess. Sidebar: did you ever see the movie Primer?
no.
Primer, whatever the fuck it is. It's a very indie sci-fi time travel movie. Highly recommend.
Okay,
Um,
I have the primer for Occhiali Neri.
the tagline.
I have it.
Okay, go ahead. Tagline. I wanted to kind of get into Jalo type stuff.
Diana, a young woman who has lost her sight, finds a guide in a Chinese boy named Chin. Together they will track down a dangerous killer through the darkness of Italy.
It's not bad. I don't think that they need to say there's a Chinese boy. named Chin, and
Well,
it's like, is that really his name, or are you like shortening the word Chinese? Come on.
right. Well, what I liked about Chin was that he spoke Italian and Chinese, assumedly Mandarin. I couldn't tell the difference in
Right.
my state, but I can assume it was he was speaking Chinese and not some other Asian language.
Sure. But yeah,
Um,
that I would never be able to tell the difference. I think that tagline's fine. I like the reference to the darkness,
yeah,
because they don't overtly describe. Okay, and again, it's always a disclaimer. Should have mentioned already. We will be discussing these movies, getting into spoilers. We're not going to segregate that in our conversation. We're just going to fucking run with it. So you all know if you
yep,
haven't seen these films, I think uh, uh, Black Glasses, Dark Glasses, Occhiali Neri is worth a watch if you're into Giallo or want to see how it's kind of represented here or not. Uh, but sure, but it's probably
uh,
not as good. We probably wouldn't recommend it as much. Hatching is going to be a strong recommend. So if you want to just know that now and go watch these movies before coming back, then feel free. Okay,
right, yep,
right.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a good way to do it without giving our scores away in the beginning, right?
Right. Yeah,
Sure,
like we definitely Hatching is worth a watch for sure, and Dark Glasses not so
is
much. But
is a pass,
if
yeah,
you're into Giallo or Italian horror or just Argento fanboy, then eat it up.
yeah.
So I haven't seen all of Argento's catalog,
No, neither have I.
embarrassingly so. However, I did after watching this because I wanted to kind of get into more. I think I was on Shutter and saw that they had the English dubbed version of Profundo Rosso, Deep Red, which is like the original pinnacle type giallo that defined the genre. And so I was like, okay, yeah, let's get into this and just to see how it's different. And it's a funny thing, like I don't even know when you look at something like that or Suspiria, which I don't think is 100% giallo. It's just Italian, really, and doesn't follow the same rules as other giallo films. Um, I don't understand how, like, I don't think that you can consider this new one a giallo per se. In the same, it's different. It's like it's just a basic whodunit thriller kind of
Yeah,
slasher, not really.
it was tough to define this movie for me. It was I would definitely call it like a mystery thriller.
Yeah,
Def Not really a slasher. Like,
right. It's not.
yeah, if we're gonna pull out the complaints right away, like the body count was just not high enough.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I think was so frustrating because traditionally with Argento or with slashers or with giallos and Italian horrors that are like this, the mystery whodunit thriller aspect is there. There's cops that are trying to track down the killer, like that's a thing, the black gloved killer. But it was so sparse in this film. I think there's only the one fucking murder victim at the beginning, right?
yeah, yeah, he kills one
And then
prostitute, then he
and then there's the
attack.
car accident, and
Yep,
then that's kind of it
yeah,
until the end.
yeah, and then he's tracking her the whole movie, and they're calling him a serial killer who only kills prostitutes. Like he only killed one fucking prostitute. Like what are
Yeah,
you talking about?
show me like
Yeah,
all the other fucking prostitutes that he's killing, and that would
yeah.
be great. But they
How
don't
about
do any of that.
yeah? How about he kill a bunch more prostitutes and then run into her on the street somewhere and be like, oh shit, this bitch is still alive, and then get obsessed with her. Like
Yeah.
he's just like he waited 10 years to start stalking her again. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. Or whatever. However much time passed, I don't know.
Oh, what do you? 10 years. Okay, yeah. I was like, what? Did I miss something in this fucking movie? What did Nate just say? Like, no. It was like it's a couple months or something. I guess I
Or
don't know.
whatever. Yeah. Like I
But
said, I don't
I mean,
remember
yeah,
a lot
that's
of
the
this, so I'm gonna
thing.
be making a lot of this up.
That's what's not there. Oh, and by the way, like I'm like right on top of my fucking mic. I sound fine and everything. I'm not
Oh yeah,
screaming at you.
yeah, you're
Okay,
good,
great.
you're good.
So the
I turned
thing.
your decibels down, so you're not
Okay,
peaking.
good.
Yeah.
I apologize if I'm peeking to anyone else. So the that's what's so bizarre about it. It's like it didn't draw you in enough with like it tease you, which is what they kind of are meant to do typically in a lot of his films or whatever. There's things that happen throughout the whole course of it that kind of keep whetting your appetite for the final conflict and excitement of the conclusion of the story and the mystery and who's done it and how is the heroine or hero going to survive and overcome this obstacle. None of that tension existed because it kind of was like it kind of became, once she lost the ability of sight, it just kind of became like, let's now it's a drama and we're watching a woman coping with blindness
Yeah.
after being an escort all of her adult life.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
And she's like, she's definitely 40, and she calls like,
What do you mean by that? What, are you saying that because you're saying like she's old, she's past her prime,
yeah,
and so
she's not like a prime escort. She's like,
yeah, she's still a bit of a smoke show
yeah, yeah, for 50
for
year
81
old
year old for
for
81 year old
yeah,
Dario
yeah,
Argento.
yeah, yeah, or like, 50 and 60-year-old fat rich guys, like,
Well, yeah.
cuz
Consider 81 Argento. Uh, our age now. This actress would be born today
yeah.
when we're ready to use her in our film in 40 years from now. It's sick as fuck.
Yeah. So
But yeah, you're right.
cuz like what? She runs out of money, and
Uh
she's
huh.
trying to take care of Chin, and um so she has to call her one client, right? The one good client
Yeah. Yeah.
who's like this. I guess he was kind of polite to her, which I thought was nice.
Yeah, he seemed like a decent guy. He's just a businessman that wants
Yeah.
to pay for sex, and he likes her. He has affinity for her.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does this all the time with other escorts or whatever. But they have a relationship or
Yeah.
rapport, and it's just like they know what to do. They're
She's
used
like
to it.
she's like, "You don't mind that I'm blind?" He's like, "Oh, I like it better that you can't see me."
Yeah, you can't see how gross I am.
Gross I
I
am.
don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't have to feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
about bending over doing weird shit when I'm
About
trying to get into a position with
yeah,
you.
because I'm a 300-pound gross dude.
I don't think he was. Yeah, it was.
He
But
was a bit.
look,
He was
at
big.
any rate, I do think that that's kind of that idea, that taboo nature of this beautiful woman who now can't see and is sexually having to engage with other these men, and like take away any of the stigma or whatever with prostitution and everything like that. I'm not interested in a conversation about the rights and wrongs of that.
Oh, I'm definitely pro sex work. Sure, absolutely.
Sure, but or I guess I don't want this film. I'm not going to look at this film and be like, oh, the objectification of women, this isn't appropriate. Like, fuck off. I don't care. This is a fucking movie, and just have fun. That she's playing a
Oh,
goddamn prostitute that lost her fucking sight, so you're going to see her have sex as a blind woman. Too
yeah,
fucking bad. Deal with it. Anyways,
yeah. Well, she's also very like confident in it, and
yeah, she doesn't give a fuck.
she's not. Still like, it's once again, it's a foreign film. They have a completely different
Yeah. Well, also the
concept of.
dude, the guy rolls up that is called to try to proposition her, and she's like, "You smell like shit.
It's like
Take a shower before you fuck me. Get out of here." And then she's waiting, like, "Where is this fucking guy?" And then he's like, "Yeah, see you, bitch."
yeah,
I'm like, well, okay. So, anyways, long road to get to. All I was saying is there is some allure to the idea of her being blind and the sexual engagement with her and like what you can do or how you like, it's very voyeuristic. Like, I like that tension of that idea, and it happens the one scene with the guy, but it's kind of just like not really there. I think Chin might be trying to see her at some point when she's like, or like looking at her a certain way. I can't recall if she was having to do something or not, but it's fleeting, if at all. I feel like he becomes aware of what she might be doing or something like that, right?
yeah. He kind of gets it, and they kind of share a wink, and he like doesn't judge her either. But once again, he's like a child, so like how
Right.
what could he say or think about it?
Yeah. Oh, well, right. Plus, Chin knows there's a woman in his village that he came from. I say village, that's kind of fucked up. Wherever he came from, I don't know if he came from a village. He could have come from a fucking city. I just said it because the Chinese thing. I apologize. There's implicit bias here. Unintended consequences of. So what I was getting at is he talks about what seems like a sex worker from where he comes from,
Yes,
and
right,
it's his
right.
cousin, I think, or something like that. He how she has to keep a gun and he knows all about it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But so it's weird. Like we're getting into it. Like the majority of the film is just occupied. The second act is like the longest act ever, and it's just like
Oh.
her adapting to being blind
Well, and like uh
and trying to get Chin
developing this friendship with this child
going
who
through the yeah.
he's kind of a jerk because he's a kid, and and he's like bounced around from home to
And
home.
well, his parents just got fucking murdered by her.
But well,
Not murdered. Manslaughtered.
manslaughtered by her car.
Right, which wasn't her fault. Um, I mean that accident had all of the landmarks or of what would be occurring in an accident. There was a woman involved. There were
Yeah.
Asian people involved. It hits all the boxes as far as.
Yeah, but it was the white guy's fault. So
I mean, if there were ever a time where you could get away with jokes like that, I think it's now because all the heat is on Ricky Gervais's new special. So that
oh
and the
yeah.
transphobic type attacks are going on. So you can get away with a an Asian and woman driving joke in my world. So okay, so let's back up how this all starts. This movie opens with a fucking a cool little montage of her driving, and then she's looking around. She sees people looking up in the sky, and there's a solar eclipse, and so she goes out to the field and she puts on her sunglasses and she watches. It has nothing to do with the fucking movie.
This does. Well, that damages her eyes because she didn't put on.
No,
Yes, that damages her eyes because she didn't put on the actual glasses you're supposed to watch the solar eclipse with. She put on her regular sunglasses.
it
So
damages them a little
it
bit.
damages them to the point where when she has the car accident, she loses her sight completely because it like knocked around the other. It like went full. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was like that was the start of her
Did
injury,
they
and then
say that explicitly?
no, no, no. But it's implied because why would she go blind from the accident?
I'm trying to think
It's not like
back.
her
Like,
eyes got popped out of her head. Like
I mean,
it was
I don't
it was
know.
a neurological thing from
So
the
they were
damage
already kind
done.
of.
Yeah, they were already kind of damaged.
All right.
Yeah. That so that
Mm,
that was what. But once
that's a
again, I thought that was fucking stupid.
yeah. It's a little bit dumb. Well, there's a couple devices that are like plot devices that are silly in this. I think by the end of the movie, where they're trying to escape the guy, and they're in the water, the swamp, and it was kind of funny. It was like you know how there's like Deus Ex Machina where God from Machine occurs. Like, do not do that. Adaptation is a great. You've seen adaptation, right?
The Nick Cage?
Yes.
No,
No, you never saw it. Fuck.
no.
Okay. Um, Donnie Darko, you've seen.
Yes.
So like near spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen Donnie Darko, um, don't listen to this next 1 minute. So near the end, whenever he is struggling on the road, the guy's fighting him and beating him up for whatever conflict, he says Deus Ex Machina, like, and the guy's like, "What the fuck did you just say?" And the red car comes by and has the accident, hits him or hits whoever, and so Deus Ex Machina is like God from Machine, and it's a plot device. It's like, don't put that in your fucking movie because it's not fair. You didn't earn it. Things
Right,
happen
right,
because
right.
of this dumb event that you wrote. It wasn't a real event. It's God's actions through a machine directing the narrative. So to me, the snakes in the swamp at the end of the movie, like, there's no need for there to be a goddamn brood of snakes or a snake orgy going on in the swamp that they walk into, and it causes her to scream
Yeah,
because they're like, and she's like, I think she's half naked at this
yeah.
point, and they're
Did
like,
you
and
notice
I also,
that it was they were all different too? It was like
it was
not
just a bunch of
it
different
was they were it
snakes.
was not like it wasn't like a family of snakes. It was like every snake they could imagine. They're like, put all the snakes in
Yeah,
there. Like
it's
she,
like we've seen Indiana Jones movies. Snakes, it had to be snakes, and there's like
yeah,
all the different kind of
all the
snakes. And
snakes.
now Harrison Ford hates snakes. But it's like also violating because it's like a snake. It's a phallic symbol. They're all around her legs and everything, and it's like what's getting her caught now by the perpetrator. I thought it was like kind of had like neat ideas or subtext that you could read into it, but it was also just a dumb fucking way to have him find out where they were after they kind of had already gotten away in the woods. It's not a traditional slasher. It's not
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees showing up behind a tree. It's you're
Many
screaming after snakes.
many moments of eye rolling in this movie, and that was
Yeah.
definitely one of them.
Right.
It's like,
So anyway,
oh
so she,
god.
I know, and that's what a lot of it was. And then it was just like sit back and watch a lifetime movie of a woman dealing with blindness.
Yeah, oh, it felt
So
like a
so
Lifetime
the
movie.
so I can't remember how it actually occurs, but more or less, so the eclipse happens, and then like the the only other kill that happens to start off this whole serial killer idea, um, a escort is leaving the hotel. There's bellhops that have all their pomp and circumstance of wearing their fucking garb and looking like, the monkeys from the Wizard of Oz. And and she goes out. This escort leaves, and she goes out, and she gets a pretty cool death, but nah,
So
she's
she
more or
get
less strangled with like razor wire.
no, she gets strangled by
Yeah.
the bass string of a cello, and they call this serial
Uh...
killer the cellist. The serial killer who kills one person, and then the main character
He's
gets
like,
the cellist. We must
can you
get this
imagine?
this
He's like,
like,
this is all I fucking got.
like
I
there's
don't have
like
my
this
I don't have
one
my normal
detective.
knife.
There's like a detective, and he's just like smoking cigars, and he's got the board of just pictures, and it's just one woman and like some wire next to it. He's just like it's
Let's call this
driving him
fucking
mad.
guy
It's
the
like
cellist.
I got divorced over this case. He's so obsessed. My wife left me. My dog
Yeah,
left me. I must find this cellist.
that's great.
And then so then he kills two cops, right? The two cops that are investigating her. They think she'll lead them to the killer. So he kills
Yeah,
the two
which is a
cops.
traditional thing,
Yep.
like for them to do in these movies. Like the cops are involved, they're gonna ask questions, and they're dumb, bumbling cops almost always, and like, oh, they must have painted the van because it.
Yeah.
uh, and so shit. Yeah, I don't remember all the cop thing. Is that pretty early on? When is that what happens when the
Uh,
chase occurs? That's when
it's
the
like
chase occurs, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
where so he gets the cops, and then like the chase happens, and so more or less he's after her in
yeah.
this chase, and she just because she's running to her car because she sees the van, she knows the van because of the prostitute murder or whatever, and so she's on edge. She's being followed, or I think she left a guy in the room, didn't want to sleep with him, or for whatever reason she left
Right.
her the guy that she was going to be. Oh, right. This was an unnecessary thing. She was out gonna do a job, and the John said something about F and F, and she's like, "I don't do fisting. You're fucking gross and sick. You're not doing that to me." And he was really pushing and pushing and pushing. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so she storms out of the hotel. Yep.
right. And that's what causes
The
the
chase. Yeah.
the chase from the guy. And I can't remember how the accident happens. More or less, he rams her in his little
Yeah.
van, and it pushes
It
her
pushes
car
her car.
into the traffic, which is where the Chinese couple is driving.
Right.
And this was an awesome accident, though.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we talked or we mentioned, we're gonna start complaining right away, but let's talk about some of the good stuff. The practical effects on all the deaths were super solid.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I
They
I
were
was the
very
yeah
only a couple, but they were done
yeah
nicely.
very gory, lots of blood, like all practical, pretty solid. Which you can expect from a movie like this, and they definitely delivered in that department.
Yeah, they're
Unfortunately,
not
once
gonna hop to CG or any of that bullshit.
yeah, I mean, I don't think the movie could afford it.
Well, who knows? I mean, his name and everything. So, but yeah, this effect was cool. The car, they more or less, she is gonna T-bone this car, but instead of just T-boning and pushing the car, she fucking somehow ramps
Yeah,
off
she
the
ramps up
car,
and like
and her
decapitates the car. Yeah,
tires, yeah, her tires are like doom doom, and like, and you see it, and it's
the
just like
head just was.
smushing them, and
Yeah,
oh my god,
yeah,
just like
it was good.
peeling out, yeah. So it's cool. And anyways, and so poor Chin is in the back seat, and yeah, that's how she ends up meeting the other, the supporting actor, boy actor Chin. Um, she
That
goes blind at the accident, and she has to get Dario Argento's daughter, Asia Argento. She plays a specialist in the field of assisting a rehabilitating a blind
right.
uh
Rita is her name.
yeah, Rita. And so the rest of the movie until the very end culmination is just Rita working with Diana, and Diana getting a
Ha-
dog, a seeing eye dog,
Hanging out
and
with Chin.
Diana wanting to sort of help Chin, but he rejects her at first, but then he comes and finds her, and now she's hiding him from the people that are trying to put him in a good home because she shouldn't be having him because she killed his parents. Like, but she's like, no,
But she's like,
he just needs help.
no, he wants that. He wants me to be his new mom. I want to be his new mom. Let's go on the run. They go on a run to
Yeah,
like some old hotel, but but the killer has also tracked them there, and that's where he kills the cops. I think the cops get there too. The two detectives that are
yeah.
not real. They're not real detectives. They're the Child Protective Services
Well,
detectives.
they go to Rita's house. The person that helped her rehabilitate, they go to Rita, Asia Argento's character's
Right.
house eventually, and
And
so.
I think that yeah. Well, that's where
Well,
they
yeah,
go.
they are
But
in an old
there
hotel,
was that
right?
one that
Yeah,
was like that hotel
the
room that was
hideout.
like
And no, it
yeah,
was
yeah.
yeah, that's where Chin lived.
Yeah, and I
That
think
was his
that
place.
yeah, I think
Uh,
that's
uh,
where the Child Protective Services figures out, hey, we're gonna go here, and
Right,
but she's also being stalked by the cellist, so that's where the cellist kills those two. So now she's free and clear to raise Chin, because they're
right.
dead.
Yeah, they
Thanks to
find
the
their way.
cellist,
They find their
he
way.
did her a favor.
Yeah, there wasn't clear. There wasn't enough. There was almost no POV. It was very minimal POV, which is like you always want to see them because they weren't ever stalking a victim. You never saw another
Yeah,
fucking victim. Just the original prostitute that they kill at the beginning. He doesn't follow anyone. You don't see him like.
I
You don't see
know.
the POV, which is like what you need to drive the suspense of this movie. You
Yeah,
need to see how vulnerable the characters are. It helps drive the suspense
yeah,
in this style of film, and it doesn't do it. Uh, so yeah, then there's just a bullshit thing where they get back to Rita's, and Rita leaves for whatever reason. I can't remember why, but
right. And then when she drives by this van
she sees
goes.
him.
She sees him and she knows that it's him, and he sees her and he goes, "That's the chick that is hanging out with Diana." He turns his van around. I'm gonna go kill that bitch.
Yeah,
What?
I believe. Well,
What?
he had to. Yeah, it makes sense. I was fine with
I
that.
did not buy that. I was like, how did they? It's at night. They got their headlights on. What is
Yo,
you
yeah,
can't
yeah, no,
see shit.
there's no way. Yeah, they're not gonna see anyone in the car. You're right. That part,
Oh, oh,
you're not
it's
gonna see anyone.
oh, yeah.
If it was daylight, you would recognize the person in there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you would have
Come
done it. But yes,
on.
it's too dark for any of that to happen. You're right.
Yeah, and then they're not. So then I think he does kill Rita, or
Yeah,
he
I
doesn't kill
think
her, but she's like running through the woods now on her own, running away from him. So he
I think
just
he gets the accident, and then I think he stalks her right down there, and then
oh
kills her, and
yeah, he
or
might. So
slits her throat or does something. Yeah.
then he goes to her house, and they're not safe there, but somehow she finds out. Does Rita like text her or something before
Yeah.
she?
Yeah.
Yeah, or well, obviously can't text her. So she like leaves a voicemail, I believe.
Just something. Yeah. It
And then
says to
she
get the fuck out.
let's just get out of there. So they get out of there, and then this is like the climax, right? The big chase.
Right, and it's just a weird meandering through Italian countryside where you
Yeah.
like, how the fuck did they get to here?
There's
Of
like a
somehow
weird
they
barn.
The geography of what's occurring I don't understand, but somehow
Yeah,
Chin and her come to the field that Rita got murdered in, so they see that.
yeah, and
The guy
also
has found them still. He's on their
also
trail.
somehow all of this stuff is really close to like a big city with hotels and prostitutes. Oh, like,
I
I
mean,
mean, they could have driven outside the city. I get it, but like,
yeah,
you could show that to us, or you could tell us
eh,
about the geography throughout
it's
the movie.
implied, like the blindness. It's
Like,
implied.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, it's implied.
I don't know. I haven't been to Italy. I am uncultured, and
No,
so
it's true.
I
It's
would
true.
imagine. I'd imagine there's a lot of countryside right outside the town because it's Italy.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
I don't know. I've seen, yeah.
All right,
So
so let's get to that. Let's get to that big finish. Uh,
yeah, they're just it's just a cat and mouse thing like it always is in a movie like this where the
yep.
killer is hunting them down. They are avoiding them a few times, but then ultimately they come to like a machine shop.
Yeah.
Uh oh, and because like the guy, she smells the dogs and she associates the smell of dogs to the killer, who was the guy that she refused to have sex with earlier
Because
in the
he was so
movie.
stinky.
And that's why he's got an axe to grind with her because
Because
she
he
was rude to him.
and you're like, when they reveal the killer, and you're like, well, are you fucking kidding me? First of all, the inciting incident happens after he killed a prostitute.
Yeah, it did. Anyway, and he was likely going to kill her anyways because she was a prostitute. But
he,
then I guess it was the fact that she refused him because he stunk that
that
he
it was so
really got to
personal.
focus.
And
Yeah.
wait, if he's killing these prostitutes by stalking them, why is he hiring them for sex? Why isn't he hiring them for sex and killing them after the sex? Why is he
Well,
stalking them in the fucking you know
yeah. Or
it,
or or why not like clean yourself up, tell them to be somewhere for sex, and then just kill them there? Yeah.
just
Like,
kill like yeah this it makes we don't know anything like
yeah,
that's
it's
what
just
this movie is just a bunch of things that they thought were cool or could make a story in a row. We don't get
yeah.
we don't get anyone's motivations. We don't get anyone's
Oh,
backstories. We don't understand anything about anything except for I mean I think Chin gets probably the most character development in the movie.
I
Um,
guess, but yeah. I mean, I don't know how fair that is to Diana. I mean, she did lose her sight and then learn how to do stuff. But yeah, you're right. There's just not a lot going on, and it is just from point A to point B to C, and again, it's just not the excitement that you would expect to have in a movie or through Argento. Like, Argento is polarizing with certain things where there's like, there's very just obscure weirdness can happen. They're awesome to
yeah,
look at usually, but and the soundtrack wasn't really anything special.
that
Cinematography, it looked nice,
yeah
but
yeah
there wasn't a lot of good, neat things going on to really get interested in.
right.
Just
So we go back to where I said I like watching foreign horror because I get sucked in by reading the dialogue.
yeah,
I was not sucked in to this movie. Like I was hatching. I did not turn my face away from the screen.
yeah,
Uh, Dark glasses. I checked my phone, and
yeah.
I checked my phone with during a movie with subtitles, and that is if you don't have me, like,
Sure. I mean, I still enjoyed it. I wasn't that distracted. I think that I was still excited to see what Argento was doing and to see how things have changed or how he's changed. And it just left me a little bit disappointed or wanting. It didn't have uh, any of the excitement that his prior films had, even if they're a little bit uneven or bizarre. They're still scenes or moments where it's like, oh shit. And plus, whenever you think about the impact that they had in the 70s in the era of filmmaking with slashers and horror to help it propel to where it is today, it were necessary, awkward steps toward what we get to celebrate today. And so so they're great. They're still revered, and this just looked like it was completely devoid of
Right.
any of that.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, give me something weird.
Yeah,
Give me a bloodbath. Give me something.
I mean,
I didn't
yeah,
get it. I didn't get any of it. Like, wouldn't it be cool if someone looked at the sun and went blind? No, that wouldn't be cool.
yeah.
Let's base a movie on that idea.
Yeah, there should have been more prostitutes, and you should have seen something weird or interesting. Like maybe she has a prostitute friend collective,
Yes,
and they all talk, and they're all
right.
freaked out, like they don't want to take new
There,
jobs
there's
because
an
of this guy's out
agency.
there.
There's an agency that she works for. Boom! You
Yeah,
just added 5 or 6 prostitutes and a
right,
boss lady, like right,
right. Have there
Who's
be
gonna help Diana now that she's blind before she gets dumped on Rita?
sure, or
Like,
there's gonna be
because she's gonna try
muscle,
to
and then
keep
you're
her
gonna
life.
see them try
Yeah,
to save them, and
there's
and they get dispatched, and they can put up
yeah,
a fight, but this guy really wants to kill prostitutes, so he's got to take them out first. All kinds of cool shit could have happened.
yeah, and
Um,
we just
because
need.
really, what's the point of the story? Okay, she goes blind, and now others have to help her. Like, is this a moral type story? Am I supposed to understand you need to have others, or like even a prostitute is a human being in the end? And I like what's the message here, Dario? Um,
Right,
so
right.
right, so the conclusion is more or less the what we've been waiting for. The final uh, conflict is resolved in this machine shop of sorts, and I can't even recall how things complete. Do you remember?
No, not at all. He dies.
Oh shit, yeah.
She
There's got to
kills
be
him.
something interesting with
She
how he
kills him
dies, though.
somehow.
Fuck, I wish I remembered.
She
That's
kills him
shitty that I don't
somehow,
remember.
and the movie's
It's
over.
been it's been
And
almost
the
2 weeks.
reveal that it was the stinky dog guy was like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, okay, we're on episode 23, right?
Yeah,
Anybody who watches knows that I like to focus on the writing more than on like cinematography and stuff like that. Like, I love special effects and I love direction and stuff like that, but I always focus on the writing first. And I mean, come on, I can't give this movie, I don't know, anything. I can give it the practical effects
hmm
for the few on-screen deaths. Um, that's all I can give it points for.
yeah, yeah. Well, so his style, it had some, it looked nice, and it was
It did
fine.
it looked okay. It looked okay. I think it would have looked better to me, or would have looked nice, as you put it, if the soundtrack was a little better.
Yeah, because it
Like
was a bit flat. Like it didn't have
it
anything going
yeah,
on.
and like I know what you're talking about. There was some good like pop style like
Yeah,
camera angles, and you're like, man, this would be great with a 670s soundtrack that it doesn't exist. And they're
right,
and they're just like doing ominous strings like through the whole movie, and I don't know, I just wasn't buying it.
right. So where did you land as far as a final rating for Dario Argento's Dark Glasses?
Dark Glasses gets a dose out of Diaz.
Oh, I will note. I don't think that was Italian.
They're really similar languages.
Right. Okay. Not that it matters. I'm just saying, like, to use a different language and then for it to
uh,
intentionally not be Italian is
uh,
disrespectful. I gave it a 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Okay,
It's
all right.
just there's
We're
redeeming
close.
qualities. It's not complete trash. It has a couple neat things. You get to the Diana's kind of hot, and you get to see her in lingerie a few times, and it's kind of neat. And to think about her being blind and still having to do sex acts, and you can get your rocks off on
10,
that if you want. It's still fine. I think you get to see some tits in it too, so you
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, it's there.
2,
All
And
right.
again,
I gave it a due out of 10.
there you go.
Thank you,
Ciao
Google
bella.
Translate.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. So Deep Red, I had never seen it until just recently, and it really is fun. It's kind of meandering, or just like it's weird as shit because Goblin does the soundtrack in part on this one, and I
Right,
love
right.
Goblin because of Suspiria, because Suspiria utilizes Goblin and the fucking organs and the synth. and then the witch, like really fucking cool. Uh, so they're back in Deep Red, but they kind of just have the same little, it's almost like the same identical beat that's in, or chorus that's in Suspiria, and it's just kind of like never progresses to different music. It's sort of just like that same little hook that they just keep playing throughout the film in weird moments, and then other moments where it's just like they're just like doing weird shit on the fucking keys. This doesn't, this is just sounds right now. This isn't as musical or anything like fucking weird. But it was fine. It was mostly like the heavy whodunit mystery type thing. The plot doesn't really make sense. And but you get to see a ton of deaths. A lot of people die, and by the culmination scene is actually really fun and neat with the death that they do there. It's 75, and they do something pretty graphic by the end with the effects, and it's like, okay, you can kind of see like where it's boring for the most part, but then by the end you're kind of like, yeah, that was kind of actually pretty cool and surprising. And if I consider the era, I bet this blew a lot of people's minds. So, um, but Suspiria will always, hands down, be my favorite Dario Argento movie.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the one that put him on the map anyway, and the one everybody kind of goes to.
And I still haven't seen the remake.
I have not seen the remake either.
Maybe worth a shot. If anyone's listening and you guys have, would you recommend the remake or not? I'd be interested. Um, just haven't done it.
Sure. Okay, let's move on to Hatching, directed by Hannah Bergholm, and this is her feature debut, and she knocked it out of the park. I mean, to have this be your first movie, holy shit.
No, it's
Um,
wild. We ought to keep a running tally. There's been a lot of first features that we've watched this year, and some really amazing
yes,
movies. Even
absolutely.
ones that are just like just fine. That it's like a good
Yeah,
first
yeah. Just
shot.
just great because it was your first movie, not necessarily
Right.
great, right? But still
Yeah.
good, you know.
Right. Couple dog shit,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
World's Fair comes to mind.
Yeah, Death Valley.
All right. So
Okay.
yeah.
All
So
right. So the
Hannah
story of hatching.
Bergholm. Yeah.
Uh, all right. Let's bring up the tagline here.
Doo doo doo
Uh,
doo beep beep beep.
tag. Yep. Derp, derp, derp.
Bloop.
A
Pew. Ding.
a young gymnast who tries desperately to please her demanding mother discovers a strange egg. She hides it and keeps it warm, but when it hatches, what emerges shocks them all. you know,
Yeah.
it could have been written
Just
a
to
little better.
repeat,
Just could have
just to
been.
repeat, if you guys are still here and you haven't seen this one yet, please stop listening to us and go watch it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Definitely
So
watch
yeah, I
Hatching.
mean that tag is a bit
I'm not.
it's fine.
I'm not.
Eh.
I'm not a fan of that shocks them all line. It's a little misleading.
No.
I don't think
Well,
these synopsises should mislead the audience.
well, it's a weird thing. Like, how much do you want to bait someone to watch something and not give it away? Like, we've encountered this when we are recording our SPF 60s. Like, we want to describe how you might feel or what you might get into without ruining what you're going to get into.
Right. No, that's true.
So
That's true.
it's a delicate balance. Um, they mentioned the egg, and
Yes. So, real
they
quick
mentioned
before
hatching.
before we start the full on discussion, let's give the shout out to Gustav Hogan, practical effects on Star Wars Rogue One, Solo, and Ex Machina, as well as Hatching. Um, the
Yeah.
If you are a fan of practical effects, you should just watch Hatching for that.
Oh,
Besides the fact
absolutely.
that
Yeah.
it's a good movie.
I mean, shit. I used to watch Face Off all the time on Sci-Fi. I love it. If and I don't even know if they still do it. I've gotten off of it because I don't have cable anymore, and I'm not gonna go out of my way. Anyways, it was just all creature effects
Oh
and
yeah,
makeup
yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. And so, like in the challenges and the shit these artists would come up with were absolutely fucking awesome. There's obviously dog shit ones, but some of them are amazingly beautiful or breathtaking or creative and weird. And so, yeah, practical effects have to continue, and shit like this shows you just how awesome and how much more weight and like importance or like ick can come, the visceral response can come from having that be on screen versus having that be rendered in a computer.
Oh yeah. Like we haven't gotten to it yet, but the bird creature is oh oh my god,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
so good. It's
yeah,
so good.
it's its evolution is also,
Uh
the transformations very bizarre and
yeah.
very satisfying to watch happen because you kind of know what to expect, but each time you see a glimpse, you're like disturbed and enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
So, do you can would you consider this almost like a body horror then?
Yeah, I think this falls in the category of body horror.
Yeah, a
Not
little bit, right?
not quite creature feature. Uh,
Right.
I'm pretty sure there are no casualties.
Well, you mean like that you would see? I mean, there's the friend.
I don't think she dies. She ends up in the hospital.
Oh, does is that right?
They visit her last.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Okay.
There's only one death, and it's at the very end of the movie, right? Pretty
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Well, as far as human death,
yeah,
there are animals that
yeah,
that
yeah.
meet their demise.
That's true. All right, so let's paint a picture. You in the description, you got the demanding mother. So the demanding mother is also not quite accurate depiction
Are
of
are you
how,
are you sick of this trope yet?
of how crazy she is, and she's
Are you sick
yes,
of the trope? Yeah.
the
The
trope,
social
the
media
social media mogul main character or
influencer.
influencer character. She is so she paints the perfect family life for
Hmm.
her vlog.
Yeah.
She dresses everyone so that they all match nicely. She does constant photo and video shoots with the family. Um,
She
the
records every important
records.
moment. She's recording it so that she can post it on the thing, and she has a complete detachment from that and what it actually is doing to her family. And obviously she's already kind of separated herself, like this is, having this family is actually a job for her, and
Right.
she's going to live her real life elsewhere.
Yeah.
This isn't her real life, this is an act.
Right.
And I will use them as employees almost. And like, it's fucked up. Like, I don't, and any other time that we've seen this happen in a movie, or them utilize this device, this one executed it perfectly. That
Yeah.
her her character is extremely well thought out. And
Yeah.
yeah, these are kind of one note things, but like the way that in depth that they describe it and show that separation and her detachment as a human being from what she's doing and everything else, was really awesome. It's well done, well executed.
Oh yeah, she's we mentioned her daughter Tina, who's the protagonist. She is a gymnast. The mother just pushes and pushes and pushes to the point of injury
Hmm.
to the child. To there, she hasn't won a spot in the competition yet, so she has to win the
Yeah.
spot, and then she has to win the competition. So it's like a really big the main plot that she has to go through. Well, I would call it the B plot because the A plot, of course, is the egg.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the whole idea is like this family is already on edge. It's already kind of falling apart and uncomfortable things are already occurring. And Tina's journey sort of has these two paths or these two lives that she's living throughout the whole film. And I think that constant tension between the two and how they're going to finally intersect or weave together, and when they do, I love that suspense and that's built through that. Because it's like in any other movie where the main character finds this thing that they have to keep secret from everyone else that they know in their life. Like, that's been done, but that's a fun play because it's like you got to keep it away and you can't let someone see, and it causes like a lot of you know uh,
Yeah.
what would you do or how would you hide this? It's a really fun, it's gizmo.
Right,
It's
right.
it's cool.
Don't feed it after midnight. So there's a moment where the mother is doing a perfect video, and a crow or a raven breaks through the window, and they she ends up killing it.
It
Um,
breaks the fuck out of their
yeah,
stuff. Like
yeah, it
this
breaks
crow,
everything. Yeah,
like every goddamn piece of crystal or glass or chandelier, table, vase, like it's just like this crow knows what the fuck it's doing and it's destroying all of her expensive stuff.
and Tina catches it in like a tablecloth or something, and doesn't really know what to do, so she like hands it off to the mom, and the mom just snaps its neck right in the thing, and then she hands it back to her and it's like, go throw this out.
Yeah, get rid of this.
And with like zero remorse, like total sociopath, and the daughter's like, "You just killed this bird. Why? Why?
Yeah, no,
Why would you?"
was totally on the mother's side with doing that to the bird. I
Oh
feel
no
like she
no
should have.
no.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I know, but she should have probably done it away from Tina. Like I was definitely like, oh, this fucking bird is gonna die. It
Oh
just
yeah yeah
broke.
yeah.
This is $5,000 of shit that it just busted. You bet your goddamn ass it's gonna get killed. But yeah, she could have been a little bit more sincere about
Yeah.
hiding that from the daughter because clearly the daughter had already like started to show uh attachment to it, like just like, oh, it's okay, like yeah, just like take her
Yeah.
away. But no, but she's cold hearted and it drives that point home.
Right.
She is no nonsense, fuck this thing,
Yeah.
it's interrupted my life, it
Right.
needs to go away.
So I think we get we might get some training, and then she goes out to the dump the garbage can, and it's not there.
Hmm.
And for whatever reason, she gets pulled into the woods. She gets drawn into the forest. Um, and then there's a sound, and she finds this raven or crow, whatever. It's like it's dying. It's not dead, and it's making that sound. Um, so she kills it, right? She puts it out of its misery. But
Yeah, I
but
think she takes a rock and she keeps
yeah,
smashing at it. Yeah.
but she says the same thing that the mom said to her, right? She like repeats a line there. It's
Oh, as
it's
far
like
as
one of those
taking care of
moments
it.
where it's like putting it out of its misery or something, right?
Right, right.
Um, because I think that's what the dad said to uh to her after the
I can't
mom did
recall
that
exactly,
disgusting
but
thing.
there's a chance that you might be confusing it for Firestarter.
It's possible. It's very possible.
Because I'm like thinking about that scene, like, okay, she's trying to immolate that cat, but she didn't finish the job.
She killed it
Wait, no, there's a bird,
to
and
a
she's
bird.
smashing it.
So she does kill.
So,
She definitely kills the bird.
yeah, I
Uh,
know. I'm just
and
saying.
then like right next to it is a nest with an egg. So she brings the egg home and starts to take
Hmm.
care of it. She puts it under her pillow, and
And this is
um
an egg-sized
and
egg. It's a
yes,
normal egg.
it's a normal egg. So we go through lots of just gymnast training, and the mom being crazy, and the eggs getting bigger, and some more gym training, and the mom being crazy, and the egg is now very large, extremely large. And okay, so there's a fight that sends her to bed crying, right? Or
It
is
doesn't
it
matter. It
it
doesn't matter.
all
Doesn't
right, all
matter.
right. It
Doesn't
doesn't matter.
but you're getting to the point. Like it's the drama and the tension of her continually not being able to perform for her mother, but still
Right.
wanting to perform
Wanted to
for her
perform.
mother.
Yeah. So okay.
And it's like you've said, because the thing that was really cool for me is the way that you've described the relationship that she has with the egg and
Right.
how she's longing for that with her mother. I think that that's an excellent
Right.
observation that you made.
Right. Okay. Real quick for the sci-fi ofness of it. Uh, when the egg was like half size, she had like blood all over her hands for some reason.
Well, yeah.
She touched the egg, and it absorbed the blood through the egg. And then Um, so the mother is dating this guy, and she just like tells Tina about it, and that she tells Tina that she's in love for the first time, and like you see Tina's face, like
Yeah, like what the
what? you
fuck are
don't
you
you
doing?
you don't love Dad, you don't love me, you don't love
Right.
our family, like you're destroying our family, and you're happy about it. And she's doing this with like total like she expects Tina to be happy for her, like they're friends. Um,
Yeah, that and that's like I said earlier, like this actress who plays the mother, and it's gonna kill me because I just saw this woman in another film that I watched with my wife, and I
she does
can't
look very
recall what it
familiar.
was. Um, but anyway, like she's perfect in this role. She is so fucking detached. And like you said, this other boyfriend, like that's her real life.
Right.
And this is a job. She is complete separation from Tina, from the husband, from
Yep.
her son, and probably because the son is a goddamn replica of the father, and who she already despises. And
Right.
it's like it's so sad because Tina is obviously wants nothing but the love of her mother,
Right.
and the the respect or the acknowledgement. See me, um, and yeah, she's describing it, and so yeah, she touches the egg, and
Well, so
uh,
I think she this is where she comes back to the room and she's crying and she cries
right.
on the egg. It absorbs her tears and then it cracks. And
Hmm.
here's where the movie starts. This bird creature, it I mean it's impossible to describe how fucking cool this thing is. You have to see the movie. Go see the movie.
it's it's wild.
It's wild.
It's so wild. Like I really was questioning. Like, there's no way it's a puppet. Like this thing looks fucking like wild. Like, hey, you can't make this. How do you make this? This is like this is CG. Come on, it has to be. And like I'm like, but it's practical. It's all
Yeah.
animatronic. It's insane.
Yeah, just think like if Gollum was a puppet, you know,
Yeah,
part human, part bird.
bird like Gollum.
There's like hair stretched out and it's like patches, but then there's like feathers here and then there's patches of skin. One arm is like really tiny and shriveled. The other arm is huge and looks like it could take your head off with one swing. So it's got a very like Igor kind of monster-esque look to it. Just a beautiful piece of art
Yeah.
from Gustav Hogan. And then we get to see some of my favorite things that I never knew I wanted to see. Um, okay, so she's hiding this creature in her room. How do you think she feeds it? Because when she started to feed it, I was like, oh my god, duh.
Well,
so
yeah, but she like because she discovers it by accident,
she
right?
does. You're right, because she
Yeah,
pukes. Yeah, she
yeah,
pukes because it's gross. She, she pukes because it's gross, and then it starts to lap up her vomit.
yeah.
So now she has this big bowl that she like pukes in, and then she gives it the bowl to the creature, and the creature
Mm.
eats the food out of the bowl. It was so awesome.
Yeah,
And once again, I mean, there was no CG here. The puke was gross.
yeah.
The fluids, all the fluids were gross. Everything was super gross and amazing. That's why you go see this movie.
Yeah, I
Uh,
can't recall. I think she originally throws up. I think she might throw up because it could bring the neighbor's dog back.
I
Is
think
that what
it
happens?
brought her a creature. Yeah, it brought her a
Yeah,
dead animal of some kind to be like, look,
right,
love me. I did this for you.
right.
Um, which is cool. Okay, so now we have a couple things going on here. First of all, this the creature protecting its owner is not new, right?
Mm.
We've seen it before in regular horror. We've seen it before in horror comedy. It's got like a Bad Milo kind of vibe. If you saw that Ken Marino vehicle.
Yeah, yeah.
um, and we have okay, so she's puking all the time to feed this thing, and she's like a 12-year-old girl, um, and she's a gymnast, so she's already super thin and frail, and she's doing gymnastics. like all the time. She's always doing push-ups and crunches in her bedroom, like her the constant training. Um, in passing, someone makes a comment that it looks like she's losing weight, and then it never gets brought up again. I thought this was important
Yeah.
because of body dysmorphia and eating
Right.
disorders, and bulimia specifically being such a huge thing amongst young women, and how it is literally just like how losing weight has such a like positive connotation attached to it that it is never investigated, even in a 12-year-old girl who's already super thin.
Right.
Looks like you're losing weight. Never mentioned again for the rest of the movie. Now, why is she bulimic? Because she's feeding a bird monster.
Right.
But but
No
it
one else knows that.
no one wants to know why
Right.
this child is
Yeah.
losing weight,
Yeah.
and that's a red flag as far as I'm concerned. So I thought that was very subtle, but
Yeah,
also
that's
some
a
nice
good point.
commentary.
Right,
Um,
because it's a little thing that other films would handle much more overtly and like on the nose, and it would be not as
yeah,
impactful.
no, exactly, exactly. I mean, you just come right out and have a conversation about it. You're like, oh, stop shoving your opinion down my
Right.
throat. You just like you do it like that, and it's like, oh wow, that really made me think. Good job.
Hmm.
You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be making me think about the art.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing we have going on here is, or two more things. We have the father reveals to Tina that he knows about the boyfriend and that he thinks he's kind of a nice guy. So now Tina is getting it from both sides. Like, she's got this like wet blanket of a dad.
Yeah, just a beta type thing, but also it's I don't know if he works. I don't know his whole he must work, but like whatever he does isn't really addressed. And he's like I think he's just like accepted the fact that like he was lucky that he got this woman to be his wife, and now she wants to go do whatever and he gets to live this life. He's got his son that's just like him. He's got her and he's content, and so he's like, yeah, she needs more in life and I can't give it to her, so that's fine. He's cool.
Right.
Like it sucks for Tina. I mean, I guess and you feel bad for him, but he seems that he's made his peace for the most
Yeah.
part. Even though it
Yeah.
will be a depressing experience, he's
Yeah.
accepted it.
I think I felt bad for him until that conversation. When that conversation happened, I just felt even worse for Tina as her like
Right, because
like
she's even more isolated and more.
yeah, she has
No
no
one's going to fix this situation for
right.
her.
She has no ally but this
Right.
bird.
Yeah,
Um
it's the only thing she has. Yeah, to help care for.
yeah.
And like you had said, you had mentioned this to me that it's like the relationship that she's developing with the bird is what she wishes her mother would be
Would do for her.
providing
Right.
her.
So
I
so
thought that
she
whenever you pointed that out and you the way that you had said that, like it's it's exactly right. That's exactly
yes.
what's going on.
Right, right, exactly. So she's caring for the bird the way she wants the mom to care for her. So what happens? The bird, all right. The neighbor's daughter is a friend of hers now, acquaintance friend, and is competing directly. This is the third thing on that list. Competing directly for that spot, um, and she has a dog. So when she meets the dog growls at her, and so now the bird creature kills the dog. Now we have this fight where Tina is going to lose the spot to the girl. So the bird goes and almost kills the girl. She ends up in the hospital. Um, then the mom is like, "Hey, Tina, let's go to my boyfriend's house for the weekend. You'll get to meet his daughter. She's lovely. She's everything that I always wanted in a child."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What the fuck?" You're like, "I all I wanted from this movie was for the mom to die."
Yeah, for
Ah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, she's every now and then you come across characters or actors that are so good at playing the bad guy
Oh
that
yeah,
you just hate them so fucking much.
so fucking much. Yeah, I like yeah. So the protagonist is Tinia, the antagonist is the mother. The bird creature is just there. The bird creature is a plot device. Um, anyway, we get to the we get to the boyfriend's house, and she's like motherly to this baby, and
Yeah.
she's bossy to the boyfriend, just like she is to the father. But this boyfriend has more of a backbone and like has his own life.
Hmm.
He's not fully like absorbed by her.
Right, and he's a widower.
Right.
The child's mother, I think, died during birth, or
During
just
child, I
died
think it was
after. Yeah,
childbirth. Yeah.
and so he's raising the baby. It's his baby, and
Hmm.
now the mother is there to be the surrogate mother and the wife for him because she's really into him, and he's a bit younger.
Yep.
Sort of like a Studley type carpenter guy that's redoing his home. This
Right.
beautiful, like Victorian-esque type house that he's just doing all the work on, and so it's a really cool location uh, for more shit to happen.
Oh yeah. So we have a scene where the bird comes to. Oh, she names the bird Ayi, right? Or
Ali,
Ali.
Ali, yeah,
Yeah. And so the bird comes and tries to kill the baby, I believe. Um, because they do show some kind of psychic link between her and the bird, and because of
yeah,
how
and I think the first time the psychic link happens is whenever it's after that meet where the friend is walking home
right,
and she's riding with her mother in the car, and she starts pleading with the mother to turn back. She has the mental vision of what the bird is saying, Ollie's saying, and she sees the road and the friend, and Ollie's getting closer, and that's where they solidify that there is this bond that they have. And so yeah, this happens now that she's at the house of the boyfriend, that she sees the assault, potential assault on the little baby happening, and
right,
she wants to prevent that.
right, and she does,
Hmm.
right, and Ali kind of listens to her, but doesn't want to listen to her. Like I think this is where we get that first screech, and also, um, the bird creature now definitely has the makings of Tinia's face.
Yeah.
At this point,
Yeah, it was
um,
always going through sort of a molting type
yeah,
evolution, looking a little bit different each time, like more flesh covering the bone of the bird beak type thing, but still seeing weirdness. And now there's less bird features and more human-esque type features encroaching, like human skin looking type stuff
yeah,
happening.
yeah, and and you can definitely see like she's got Tinia's eyes, like that.
Yeah, those have
That's
all closed now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, So I think we're coming up on the climax here. The I think the not the husband, the boyfriend sees Ali, right?
Well,
Or thinks,
yes.
yeah, and
Yeah, he thinks it's
thinks
Tina.
it's Senia trying to kill the
Right.
kid. So he throws him out, get out of there, which I think the mom blames on Tina.
Right, because it was Tina's fault, and he said, "No, I don't want her there,"
Yeah.
because he sees the
Oh
creature
right.
jump off the window or disappear because he scares her off.
Yeah, he says
Because it
like
looks like Tina. Yeah,
he says like she's fucked up, or like I don't want these problems. I don't need
yeah.
this drama.
Meanwhile, Tina was in the car with the mother at the one of the meets, probably, or some other bullshit, and so like
Right,
they show
right.
up, and he's like, "Get her the fuck out!" Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's the next one? Where I think does it try to kill the brother? I think it tries to kill the little brother, or the little brother tells on her about about Ali, and then we get the big finish in the bedroom.
Yeah, I think that more or less it's a reveal where now they really soon here they all have to like work together to take care of things.
Yeah. Um. So someone has a. I think the mother has a knife. the
Yeah,
yes, the mother has the knife, right?
right. Yeah.
And does she go to kill Ollie and Tina gets in the way, or does she just accidentally stab Tina? I can't quite remember.
I think she it, I think that that's right. I think that she accidentally dispatches her.
Yeah, she stabs Tina. Tina falls down and is bleeding, and we don't know if she's gonna die, if she's gonna survive this wound. Um, but we now see Ollie standing over her, and Ollie is fully Tina. Like, besides the fact that she has like bird mannerisms, she looks completely like Tina. And Tina dies here, and and the mom is like horrified and also like sad for the first time in the movie. Shows maybe remorse for her action of accidentally stabbing her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got tears in her face, but also horror at this creature who just kind of squawk does that squawk scream at her, and that's it.
Well, and it says like mother almost.
Oh right, oh it
It's
says something. That's right, right. So
right because like it's that final battle. Like I think it gets stabbed in the leg and Tina feels it,
right, right,
and you
right, right.
notice that you notice the connection because the pain happens between the two. I think they
Yeah,
they mentioned that earlier too. And then yeah, Tina blocks the and gets stabbed, and then it's like that's when the evolution becomes complete with Ollie and Tina. I think like the blood is going into to Ollie's mouth or something like that. And it's like maybe that was like the final conclusion of her transformation
right,
into
right,
Tina
right, right.
is
Yeah,
consuming
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think that does happen. Yeah.
Uh
Um,
and so yeah, then it's like it's her. And it's a perfect conclusion because you're like, well, this should be fine for the mother. Everything is back to normal. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. So the ending is hard to take because the only person in the movie who died is Tina. Tina
yeah,
who the only character in the entire movie who just wants to feel love and
right.
to be loved and to love something. She even cares for Ollie all the way to the end. She even protects Ollie from the mother
Mhm.
during the big fight scene at the end, or little fight scene. It did end pretty quickly.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, she's
so
the
so
it's a tragedy,
yeah,
it's
yeah. The least deserving character
mhm.
um, is the one who dies, but also like that's the story is like her mother was killing her,
Yeah.
and then her mother did kill her. And, like it was an accident, and maybe like that look on her face of sadness is that moment of clarity she has when it's too late,
Mhm.
and what she's left with is this monster that in a metaphorical sense she created, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So like that, I mean, I feel like that is the story, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, all of the ideas and things that it's discussing or commenting on, it's all pretty, it's not the most difficult to interpret or to draw to these conclusions, but because of the execution of it,
no,
it's
it feels like a fairy tale,
yes. Yeah, it's
like a classic fairy tale, like a Brothers Grimm
mhm.
with the shitty ending and everything fairy tale, right?
Yeah, it's
Like
like a more approachable, fun version of Lamb,
oh yeah, yeah, okay,
like
yeah,
be careful with nature and work your shit out with things like
right,
you'll reap
right.
what you sow type stuff will happen. And
Right.
yeah,
Well, yeah. I
it's
mean, because the other hand is that nobody ever confronts the mother about her horribleness
hmm
throughout the entire film. Now, it's not the child's job, nor how hard is it for a 12-year-old to be like, "Hey, Ma, you kind of suck." Um, You
Yeah.
know, it's obviously not her job. Like it's the father character's job
No,
to.
yeah, of course. Yeah, she's still too young to really have that agency to know that she should expect more from her mother. She
Right.
might feel it, but she doesn't know how to communicate that and to vocally advocate for herself to
Right.
have a
Exactly.
better parenting situation. That doesn't happen for at least a couple years. And so, yeah, it's a really sad story, so beautifully told, where
Yeah.
it is just heart wrenching, but enjoyably sick throughout, with
Yeah.
this bird creature that doesn't make any sense, but works in this
To-
setting
Totally
for
works.
whatever reason. Yeah.
Completely works. Like, and it's also like it's like a changeling, right? And the changelings
Hmm.
are things that are in folklore and folk stories, and the fact that it was a bird, I don't know. I'm sure you could draw some meaning there.
Hmm.
Um, but when it comes down to the how well, exactly what you said, beautifully told is the only way to describe it. Uh, the movie was excellent. Maybe because it was subtitled. All the performances were phenomenal. This little girl who plays Tina was
Hmm.
amazing. The mother was amazing. Um, everybody else did their job. The once again the practical effects. Uh, yeah, this monster, the vomit. It was disgusting. It was disgusting to watch some scenes, and I was loving it. And that is the good kind of disgusting that you want from. I believe they call this a folk horror movie.
Right. Yeah, it's these kind of things have to get made. It's unfortunate because, like, it's not going to make the money back,
Oh yeah,
box office wise. Like, IFC Midnight's distributing it. um it was in some theaters, but obviously it's not going to be in a lot of the theaters that are closer to us. And so trying to find ways through streaming to acquire it is the only way that you can really do it. It was just in Sundance, this past year. And it's just frustrating that these kind of films don't get more attention, and that they kind of just, like, they fizzle out. They're like, we'll remember it, and it was obviously important, but I really hope that somehow the people that were a part of it continue on and do get more opportunities to create work, because this is fantastic for all of the things that it is. It does all of them very, very well. uh it might not be your thing, but you can't fault the movie for being bad in any sense of the word with what it was attempting to do. You might not
oh
be into the
sure.
story. You might think that's a dumb idea, or think it's stupid, or not get into it, because you don't like horror, you don't like this or that. But, like, because I think you said you saw it with your mother, and she was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, yeah. I watched it with my mother and my fiance, and at the end of the movie, my mother was like, "Well, that was horrible."
Yeah, because it's just not going to land with certain people. It's just,
Yeah,
that's the nature of the shit that we watch. But, like,
it
there's
was
always genre enthusiasts that
it,
fucking get it.
it was fun to watch her squirm though. Like once
Yeah,
again,
yeah, yeah.
there are scenes that are so disgusting that you will squirm in your seat, and that's the good shit right there.
Yeah, man.
Um,
It was awesome. It was, like, yeah, beautiful. So glad that we finally got a chance to watch it and to talk about it together. It's like one of the fun ones.
yeah, it's just
Cool
great.
story, beautifully told, sweet ass animatronics, like all the shit that, like, got us into horror growing up, seeing just like,
the the bird is so good. Like I'm telling the viewers right now, the first version of the bird is good. The
oh
second
yeah,
version of the bird, when it gets the beak, is so fucking awesome. Like I
yeah.
wish it could have been the second version longer.
It would be sweet. I might have to try to make some artwork with that fucking bird,
Oh
because it
yeah,
was awesome. Just like a
yeah.
giant fucking painting of that bird, or that bird on a T.
Oh yeah,
Just like the Ada T, you know, people know, no, this
yeah.
one could be. I don't think has much. This is an A24,
It's
so
not
it's not going to have.
A24, right? But
So it's not going to have
IFC
eyes because
Midnight
of it.
has some
But
cachet.
so we'll see. I would love to make it just to have it for myself, but man,
Yeah.
really great.
All
So
right. Hatching.
Yeah, Hatching, I rested at a uh, 7 out of 10 is
Seven out
what
of
my
ten.
rating was for Hatching.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. It's not gonna make my top five, but
Right.
it's gonna be an honorable mention. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like, whenever we talk about, by the time we get to year end and we get to our top fives, it's not always films that just have the best score. Like, like we've done before, like, at least for me, and there's other criteria where might want to include a certain film that maybe I'll include a six at the end of the year. I don't really know
Yeah, it depends
because
on.
it's like what you want to have on that list to have like the have it be seen.
Well, we still have such a big year ahead of us.
I know it's
Between
insane.
like Nope, The Black Phone, Evil Dead Rise, which we didn't even know was coming this year until a couple weeks ago.
We're gonna get
Uh,
that. The Stranger Things just came back out, and we're gonna be getting David Harbour in Violent Night by the end of the year.
I don't even
Like
know what that is. I'm
you,
assuming
yes, you fucking do. You're
Dave
the. It's the goddamn Hooper or
Hooper, yeah,
Hopper.
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 Yeah, I like Hopper. He's a great guy,
You're
great
the one.
actor.
You're the one that re-brought up Violent Night a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
You don't fucking remember that? Jesus
Maybe.
Christ.
Let me look it up.
Yeah, yeah, you remember. You're
It's like
like,
a
oh
lot of
yeah, it's
them.
just a Christmas movie with David Harbour
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember this one now.
play on the Silent Night. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's good.
Well,
Oh, he
shit. What
plays
was I
Santa
just looking
Claus.
up?
It's got John Leguizamo and Beverly D'Angelo in it.
Is he in Spawn makeup?
Oh, the clown.
All right. So, speaking of effects and everything, I will say I just watched The Shape of Water.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I think we had mentioned it. I can't remember why we had mentioned it, but it came up a little while ago. And so I'm going through, and yeah, it won all kinds of fucking awards back then. And let me tell you something, dude. I don't fucking know why. It
Well,
was
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
It was
maybe.
fine, but
D- Del Toro slaps his name on something, man, and everybody puckers up.
like, yeah, best director, best original score. The music was good. Yeah, the music was good. It was classical music, so it's like, yeah, of course it's good. It's like the fucking pianist, it's gonna have classical music that's driving the stuff, and it's kind of like you emotional, and you're like get into it, and
Yeah.
but yeah, what the fuck? It was fine. It was best picture, best production
Uh,
at the Academy Awards, right? At the Academy Awards, best picture, best director, best production, best score, and then at the Golden Globes, best director, best score. Fucking crazy. I mean, good for Guillermo, but it
yeah.
was nothing. It was nothing special. I think six. I would rate that
Okay. I'm
six
glad.
Gilman out of 10.
I'm glad you brought up uh, effects.
Yeah,
I had some free time the other day, which does not happen often, and I put on Shudder and I put on Creep Show season one. Every
yeah,
episode is about 15 minutes long, but it's two stories, and they use the old Creepshow comic book effects to go like panel to panel sometimes for scene transitions.
yeah.
And they actually did a werewolf transformation in comic book turning pages, which I thought was cool.
That's cool.
Um, and it's been all practical so far, and I'm like 4 episodes in, so I've watched 8 stories. The first story was crazy good, especially well, one, the story itself, and two, the guest stars. There are some very surprising guest stars in Creepshow. I don't know. It says it's a Shutter original, so if Shutter is producing it, like they're throwing some money at this thing. I would say the stories so far, they're not very scary because you don't have a they don't have
Right.
a lot, they don't have a lot of time, but they're at least like interesting and
Mm-hmm.
fun and like they remind me of Tales from the Crypt on HBO when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Um, just new. And with no crypt keeper, they just have this that one kind of zombie ghoul type character that's always there and doesn't really
Right.
talk as the transition guy. So yeah, so I would say, especially if you're into practical effects and you haven't seen Creepshow, definitely give it a shot. I'm gonna watch it all after just those first few episodes. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so to recap, just a couple other recent watches, non-related that we will not be discussing on here. I did see the new Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Sweet, sweet.
I I had the kids over the weekend, and I'm like, guys, we're gonna do it. Fucking, we're gonna. I didn't say fucking. I said we'll watch Chip and Dale's on Saturday night
I
because
didn't
I
say.
set up the projector and let them do a drive-in type thing,
Oh,
and
that's
it
cool.
was good. It was fun. John Mulaney and Andy Samberg are really funny. It was really well written for adults. It's mostly adult movie, really.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's kids. It's just bizarre. Like
The kids just don't get it.
it's a multiverse movie, Nate.
Multiverse Chip and Dale.
It's a multiverse movie. Yeah, like
So like
they
Donald Duck shows up. It's Disney, right?
every single possible IP is in this movie, pretty
Really?
much, and they completely ruin IPs. They have the money and the ability to make fun of things that they shouldn't be making fun of. There's Ugly Sonic is in this.
Oh, Ugly Sonic, the
Yeah,
one the internet deleted.
yeah, and his character is called Ugly Sonic, and it's just it's hilarious. It's bizarre, dude. There's no
Okay.
way to really understand it. You just have to see it. It's fun. It's worth your time.
Okay.
Uh, it's there's still a kid's story involved, but
Right.
it's
Right.
the ugly
Okay.
Sonic stuff is great. There's a scene where he's talking to them. And he's like, "Ow! I think I bit my tongue with these human teeth." Because that was like one of
The
the
big, yeah,
critiques.
yeah.
He's got these weird fucking human teeth. Like, why? It's Sonic the Hedgehog. He's a cartoon. He's not a person. Anyways, so that was great. I recommend it. I rewatched
Very good.
Monster Squad with the kids.
Oh,
Uh,
love Monster Squad.
watched
Classic.
Jackass 4.5. That was fun.
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman does got nards. Oh, and then so I taught the kids how to play ladder ball. I got like this little cheap thing of ladder ball.
Okay.
You know the
I
game
don't.
ladder ball, right?
No, I don't.
It's like three rungs of PVC, and you throw these like bolos. It's just a string with two golf balls, weighted type objects on the end of them, and you like kind
Okay.
of like try to wrap them onto the bar, and it's worth 1 point, 2 point, or 3 points.
Okay.
Kind of like in Hogan's Alley, whenever you're shooting the cans to get it on a different shelf, you get more points at the lower shelf.
Sure.
Nintendo, whatever.
Yeah.
I was telling them the Wolfman's got nards. They're like, "What are these things?" I was like, "They're like balls, like nards." Like, and they got it. They had fun because it looks like a pair of nuts,
Yeah,
these
yeah,
things when they're hanging.
yeah.
It was
Right,
funny. They're
right.
like nards. What?
Nards.
Because when that scene happened, they're like, "What's nards?" It was great. And then so the only other one is Duel. I mentioned this to
Oh,
you.
you did watch Duel. All right.
Riley Stearns Duel, Dual, Duel was excellent.
Okay. I
Yeah.
want to watch it. I have it actually. I did watch a movie, which I don't once again really have a lot of free time, but I watched a Happy Event. It's a 2011 French comedy drama about a couple that decides to have a baby, and it was at moments laugh out loud funny, and at other moments very touching and like made you like really think and consider like your own life and if you're gonna have kids, if kids are right for you. If you already have kids, I don't know. It's probably more nostalgic if you already have kids.
What was it called? A
Whereas
happy what?
a happy event is the English
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
translation
Yeah.
of
I
the
see.
title. Yeah. Definitely worth it. It's only $1.99 to rent HD on Amazon Prime. Um, for $2. It
Interesting.
was a great movie. I love French films. I will watch them any chance I get. So
Oh
this was a
yeah.
great one.
Cool. All right. So what's on the docket for next week?
On the docket for next week, I think we are gonna do Men. Yeah.
I am excited because you mentioned your mother squirming
Yes. During
during
hatching.
and so I'm excited to watch Men.
Okay. All right. Um, And then we have two choices for the other movie.
Ooh, spicy.
We have Monstrous, which
Begins
uh,
with an M, makes a good thing.
it's
M and
Chris,
M's,
it's
M&M invent.
it's Christina Ricci,
Sorry.
uh, and it is story centers on a traumatized woman fleeing from her abusive ex-husband with her 7-year-old son. In their new remote sanctuary, they find they have a bigger, more terrifying monster to deal with. Um, yeah, I don't know. I didn't even. This wasn't even on my
Uh-huh.
radar, and it just kind of showed up out of nowhere. I like Shinarichi. I don't know. And
Uh-huh.
we also have Mad God, the Phil Tippett 90-minute stop animation epic. It's coming to theaters June 10th. Finally, this had a release in 2021 on the the indie circuit. If you don't know Phil Tippett, he is the genius behind Jurassic Park, award-winning. Uh, and this film, Mad God, is 30 years in the making. He's been shooting this film because it is 100% stop frame. I watched the trailer for it, and yeah, I mean, the trailer melts your face off. It's that good.
It looks batshit. Yeah.
All
So I think it's hands down we're
right,
doing
so I think we'll
Mad
do
God and Men.
Men and Mad God for
It's
next
still an
week.
M&M.
Still an Eminem. Eminem. Phil Tippett also did one other big thing. I can't remember what it was. I'm gonna look it up before we go. Jurassic Park, and he had another huge one. Oh my God, he's done everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the entire Twilight Saga,
Fucking
all the RoboCops,
Starship Troopers and RoboCop.
Star
God
Wars. See,
damn.
he did the original Star Wars and Empire and Return of the Jedi. That was the other thing. So
Willow.
original Star Wars trilogy and Jurassic Park,
Oh yeah.
and this is his feature film.
That is
Um,
awesome.
yeah. So next week, Men and Mad God, episode 24.
This
Um,
is going to be a good one.
it's gonna be a good one.
This is going to be so good.
And just so anybody knows, we are coming to the close of season one of the
Yes,
podcast.
rapidly approaching.
We will be taking a short break over the summer, and when we come back, we'll be in season two, and hopefully I'll have a lot of new content. Rodney mentioned our SPF 60s earlier. We'll be producing a bunch of those, and what those are is 60-second spoiler-free reviews of the films we do in our podcast, so you can get the gist, go check out the movie, and then come back to watch the conversation.
Dude,
Also,
I'm pumped for
yeah,
next week.
yeah. I'm pumped for next week. I'm also pumped for the website, which this shirt will be for sale on the website as Rodney designs these shirts. So we'll have our t-shirt store up, as well as I've started doing audio book reading.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna have more of those as well. So look, after the break, we'll have a whole bunch of new content for you guys once the website goes live. So we're all pretty excited about that.
Oh, for sure.
All
It's going to
right,
be good times, man.
all right. I gave Dark Glasses a 2.
Yeah, and I had rated it a 3,
I gave Hatching an 8.
and I gave Hatching a 7. So,
And oh, oh, go after
no,
you.
so yeah, definitely watch Hatching, and
Yeah,
maybe
so definitely
avoid
watch it.
Dark Glasses unless you're into Giallo and want to see an Argento movie.
Yes, I believe that is definitely the gist of the episode. For episode 23 of the podcast for the recently deceased, I'm Nate Roberts,
And I'm Rodney Godek. Take care.
and we'll see you next week.